Okay, but you can hear me, alhamdulillah. Just let me know when to start. Okay, inshallah. Bismillah, alhamdulillah, wassalatu wassalamu ala rasulillah, wa ala alihi wa sahbihi wa man walah wa ba'd. So inshallah ta'ala, we're going to conclude or mention the rest of the translation of the lesson from this past Saturday with the Shaykh Nader in the book Usool by Imam Ahmed bin Hanbal alayhi rahmatullah. And the Shaykh, he was speaking regarding the affair of al-Isnad, regarding the affair of the chains of narrations. And he mentioned a narration that came in the Muqaddimah of Sahih Muslim. And this narration, it reads, حدثني عباس ibn Abi Rizma, who said, سمعت Abdullah, that I heard Abdullah, meaning Abdullah ibn Mubarak. I had heard him saying, بيننا وبين القوم القوائم. There is between us and the people the qawaim, and the qawaim meaning the chains of narrations, the asanid, the isnads for the narrations. So look at how he referred to the asanid as qawaim, as legs upon which something stands. This shows you the importance of the chains of narrations. So we have as well the narration of Abdullah ibn Mubarak, wherein he mentioned that the isnad is from the religion. It is from the religion. And were it not for the isnad, that a person can say whatever he wanted to say. So he mentioned that the isnad is min. It is min. It is from the religion. I mean, it is a part of the religion. And the word min here is tab'idiyah. It shows that it is a part of something. So it is a part of the religion, just as the salah fasting, Hajj, and all of these things are from the religion. Similarly, al-isnad, the chain of narration, is from the religion. And were it not for the isnad, then a person could say whatever he wanted to say. This is the distinguishing characteristic between us and the people. It is the affair of the isnad. Therefore, the one who is negligent regarding the asanid, you will find them to be negligent regarding the affairs of the religion. Thus, he likened the isnad to qawa'im, and to the legs upon which something stands. Just as an animal, a four-legged animal, he has qawa'im. It has qawa'im. And if you were to remove those qawa'im, those legs from that animal, the animal cannot stand up. This is the importance of the isnad as it has been described here. And were it not for the isnad, anyone can say whatever it is that he wanted to say. And why is this? He says, because we don't have an isnad. So therefore, they can just make up things and attach sources to them and the likes of this. He says that, and so a person will bring a narration, and we say to him, Yani, who gave you this narration, and where did you hear this from? Who said this to you? What's your source? And he says, nobody. I don't have a chain. I just, feel like this is what was said. I don't have a chain leading back to the original sayer of the statement. He says, and the confusion, or this is the reason for the confusion that we have today. It's due to us not knowing the importance of the asani and the change of narration and reference points for our statements. So if you were to ask a man who has narrated something, who narrated this to you, the reference for what you're saying, and what is the source, who narrated that to you, then he's likely to say, I don't know. I can't think of the source right now. Or I was walking down the street and I heard somebody say it. And then he has no clue as it relates to who he's narrating from. And perhaps the person that he's narrating from, or who he heard that from as he was walking down the street, as he said, is a liar. So therefore, negligence regarding the asanid, it amounts to negligence regarding the religion. Were it not for the isnad, a person can say whatever it is that he wanted to say. He says a person would say whatever they wanted to say, and thus, he's not accountable. He's not accountable. Due to this, he said, that a person can say whatever it is that they wanted to say. Therefore, demanding to know the source from which one got the information, this is akin to demanding to know the asanid, or the chains of narrations. And the result of not having chains of narration for our statements, leading back to the original sources of the information, the results of not having this information can be catastrophic. It could actually lead to death. I'm exaggerating and saying that it could lead to death, because perhaps you attested to something that is unverified. You testify and attested to something that has not been verified. And on the account of that, you say, Mathalan, I heard from such and such, or so and so, that this is what happened, this is what the person did, what they fell into. Now, then you have no source for what you're saying, and thus we act upon that unverified testimony. It can actually lead to death. He says, and so if you have, for example, a statement, and you tell us, okay, that such and such said this statement, then in this case, we can go to such and such, and we can investigate his affair. We can examine him, and we can see, is someone so trustworthy? Is he one who preserves that which he hears, such that he reports it exactly as he heard it? All of this is important, and all of this shows the importance of the isnad. He says that the isnad, therefore, is from the religion. It is a part of our religion. And just as we are in need of asanid and change of narrations in our everyday life, then even more so, we are in need of change of narrations in our religion. Who narrated this statement to you? And from whom did you transmit this information? Because a person may narrate something that he hears from a news reporter. Is this how we take our religion? No, we don't take our religion from news reporters. A person may narrate his information from, or affairs of the religion from, a TV anchorman. Is this how we take our religion? That we just narrate from anybody who gets in front of the people and starts talking? He says, are they carriers of the religion? Therefore, sources of information are extremely important. Meaning, where did you get this information which you are saying? Where did you get it from? Similarly, in a hadith, and who narrated this hadith to you? Is it affirmed that its transmitters are from the carriers of knowledge? And did whoever narrate this to you narrate from someone else who was similar to him? And so on and so forth, all the way up until it reaches the Messenger of Allah, sallallahu alaihi wasallam. If it is like this, then we're going to accept it. Due to this issue, and in the last lesson, we discussed the biographies of the narrators of this book, Usool, and we went into the tarajim, the biographies of each of the narrators. Why? So that the hearts can be at ease in that which we are going to learn from this small but tremendous book. This book is a weighty and heavy book in its field in spite of its size. We have this narration in which he mentions that I said, from Muhammad, who said that I heard Abu Ishaq Ibrahim ibn Isa Talaqani, who said that I said to Abdullah ibn Mubarak, O Abu Abdul Rahman, there's a hadith that has come mentioning that from righteousness, after righteousness, is that one is that you pray for the sake of your parents, along with your prayer, that you fast for them along with your fast. He said that Abdullah, he said, "Oh Abu Ishaq, I'm man hada. Where did you get this narration from?" Where did you get this narration from? He said, I said to him, Hada min hadith Shihab ibn Khiras. This narration comes from Shihab ibn Khiras. And he said, Thiqa, meaning this Shihab is trustworthy. But who did he narrate it from? I said, from Hajjaj ibn Dinar. He narrated from Hajjaj ibn Dinar. Abdullah ibn Mubarak, he says, Thiqa. He is likewise trustworthy. Amman, who did he narrate it from? I said, Qala, that he said, meaning Hajjaj ibn Dinar said, the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alayhi wasallam said the hadith. Qala, Abdullah ibn Mubarak, he says, Ya Abu Ishaq, O Abu Ishaq, there is between Hajjaj ibn Dinar and the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wasallam a large field of land. Meaning by way of that there is a long period of time that elapsed between Hajjaj ibn Dinar and the Messenger of Allah alayhi wasallam. Lakin laysa fi sadaqa ikhtilaf. He said, however, there is no difference of opinion regarding giving sadaqah on behalf of the parents. And so, look at what he said. Look at what he said regarding Hajjaj ibn Dinar, that he's trustworthy. He's trustworthy. And who is Hajjaj ibn Dinar? He is from the Atba' Tabi'een. And the scholars refer to the life of this narration as Mu'dal. It's Atharun Mu'dal. And the narration that is Mu'dal. What is intended by way of that is a narration which two or more narrators have been omitted from its chain. It is Mu'dal. And Hajjaj ibn Dinar from the Atba' Tabi'een. And he is narrating the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said something. He says, and look and examine how Abdullah ibn Mubarak judged and ruled upon the text due to the isnad itself. He says, and meaning that this individual, Hajjaj ibn Dinar, even though he's trustworthy, he is from the Atba' Tabi'een. So it is not possible for him to have heard this narration from the Messenger of Allah alayhi wasallam. For he only encountered the Tabi'een. He says, so it is impossible for him to report from the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. He has not seen from the Prophet, nor has he even heard from the Sahaba. Now, he says that perhaps you may find that you have other narrations of similar import, wherein someone narrates something that they cannot possibly witnessed or heard. You have narration like this from them. There's a narration of Aisha, radiallahu ta'ala anha. She has a hadith that she narrates that comes in the beginning of the Sahih of Imam al-Bukhari, wherein she narrates regarding an incident that she did not directly see or heard. Now, it is wherein she narrated how Jibril will come at the beginning of the revelation to bring the revelation to the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, when Aisha was not even born at the time of the beginning of the revelation, or at the very least, she was extremely small, extremely young, and cannot possibly have been around at that time. But she narrates how the revelation comes to the Prophet Muhammad alayhi salam at the beginning of the affair. He says, and so the shahid is that she is narrating this from somebody else. She is narrating this from someone else. So either someone else informed her of how the revelation would come to the Prophet alayhi salam at the beginning of the affair, or he alayhi salam informed her of how the revelation would come. So there is some omission here between Aisha and the narration that he's actually reporting. He says, so you have Hajjaj ibn Dinar, who did not meet any of the companions. So he is from the Atba' Tabi'in. And as we have stated, this narration, it is more problem, because two or more narrators have been omitted from its chain. And Allah Ta'ala knows best exactly how many narrators have been omitted. So, but listen to what Abdullah ibn Mubarak said to Abu Ishaq. What did he say to him? He said, oh, Abu Ishaq, there is between Hajjaj ibn Dinar and the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam a very long period of time. So the likes of this narration cannot be used as an evidence. It cannot be used as an evidence. Then he said to him, however, there is no ikhtilaf about sadaqah. He says, and so meaning that you can give sadaqah on behalf of your deceased parents. There's no khilaf about it. Do it. But don't say the likes of this, what you have said regarding making the prayers for them and fasting for them and the likes of that, as there is a break in the chain of narration from Hajjaj leading to the Messenger of Allah alayhi wasallam. And we don't know how many narrators have been omitted. Where did Hajjaj hear this from? Did he hear it from a tabi'i, 2, 3, or 4 of them? And then there has to be a companion thereafter. And are there companions in the chain of narration, 2, 3, or 4? We don't know. So this break in the chain of narration is a reason for us deeming the narration to be weak, and thus we're not going to accept it. The Shaykh says, I don't want to speak too long regarding the science of hadith, but I want to show you how the scholars dealt with the likes of these narrations, or how they dealt with the asani and chains of the hadith and the narrations that have come from the Prophet Muhammad alayhi salatu wasalam, from the companions, from the tabi'een, and so on and so forth. So Hajjaj ibn Dinar, he died in the year 150 after the Hijrah. And a group of the people of knowledge deemed him to be trustworthy, such as Yahya ibn Ma'in and Abdah ibn Sulaiman, likewise Ibn Ammar. Ibn Ma'in said concerning him, La ba'sa bihi, and there's no harm in accepting his narrations. Abu Zur'a, he said concerning him that he is righteous, he is truthful, and there is no harm in taking his narrations. He likewise said that he is upright in hadith, he's upright in narrations. Ibn Hajj, he said, La ba'sa bihi, there's no harm in accepting his ahadith. But in spite of all of this, in spite of all of these statements of praise and commendation, there is this omission in the chain of narration between him and the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, where he did not meet the Prophet Muhammad alayhi wasallam. So therefore, this particular narration, this specific narration, is unacceptable. So there is no khilaf regarding sadaqah. There's no difference of opinion regarding giving sadaqah on behalf of one's parents. Meaning, as it relates to this issue of salah, fasting, and the likes of this, we have no proof. We have no proof regarding praying and making salah on behalf of one's parents. But in relation to sadaqah, there's no khilaf about it. So here we find that Abdullah ibn Mubarak benefited him, and he gave him what is affirmed within other texts. For there's no khilaf regarding those texts. And this text that he is alluding to comes in Al-Bukhari from the hadith of Aisha, that a man said to the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam that my mother passed away, and I know that she used to give sadaqah. So should I give sadaqah on her behalf? The Prophet alayhi wasallam said, yes, give sadaqah on her behalf. So, now this affirmation, this hadith is sahih, it is authentic. So therefore, we see, may Allah Ta'ala bless you, how we deal with these narrations, and how it is incumbent upon us to know the chains of narrations. And how do we study the chains of narrations? So he says, this narrator, Al-Hajjaj ibn Dinar, we know about him. We know when he died. He died, for example, in the year 150 after the Hijrah. So did he meet the Prophet Muhammad alayhi wasallam? No. He says, and so therefore, whoever returns to the books of Rijal, he will find that he didn't even meet any of the Sahaba, because he is from the Atba' Tabi'een. And the Atba' Tabi'een, they can only narrate from the Tabi'een. And the Tabi'een, they are the ones who narrate from the Sahaba. And the Sahaba are the ones who narrate from the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam. He goes on to mention another narration that comes in the introduction of Sahih Muslim. And this narration, it is mentioned that حدثنا عبد الله ابن عبد الرحمن الدارمي أخبرنا مروان. Marwan narrated to us, meaning Ibn Muhammad al-Dimashqi, that Sa'id ibn Abdul Aziz narrated to us on the authority of Sulaiman ibn Musa, that he said, I said to Tawus that so-and-so has narrated to me such and such. He said, in kana sahibuk maliyan fakhud anhu, that if your companion is maliyan, then accept from him, meaning that if he is trustworthy. So here we have another isnad, another chain of narration. And he speaks about, in this narration, about the narrators themselves, meaning that if the narrator is trustworthy, if he is precise, if we trust him in terms of his deen and knowledge, and he can be relied upon, then take his narrations, accept them. Meaning, don't just take your deen from anybody, just any old individual who begins to speak and narrate about affairs of the religion. Don't just take from anybody. We've already heard the narration of Muhammad ibn Sirin, that this knowledge is deen. Unzur, so examine the one from whom you take your deen, meaning only take from those who are trustworthy. He brings another narration in the Muqaddim, of the introduction of Sahih Muslim. And this narration, it comes from Sufyan ibn Uyayna, who reports from Mis'ad that he said, or from Mis'ad that he said, I heard Sa'ad ibn Ibrahim saying, La yuhaddithu ar-Rasulillah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam illa thiqat, that no one is to narrate from the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam except for the thiqat, except for those who are trustworthy, those who are reliable in that which they narrate. Imam Muslim, he likewise reported from Al-Qasim that he reports this narration from Al-Qasim that Yahya, he said to Al-Qasim, Ya Aba Muhammad, innahu qabihun ala mithlik. He said, oh Abu Muhammad, it is repugnant for someone who is similar to you, that it is something which is reprehensible that he should be asked about something from the affairs of his religion, and he has no knowledge of it, nor does he have anything to report and narrate regarding it. Or he has some knowledge of it, but he does not know its reference. So Qasim said to him, وَعَمَّنْ ذَاكَ, why are you saying this? He says, لِأَنَّكَ ibnu imamay huda. He says, because you are a descendant of two imams of guidance. Meaning you are a descendant of Abu Bakr and a descendant of Umar. So he said, Al-Qasim said to him, أَقْبَحُ مِنْ ذَاكَ, something which is more repugnant than that, something which is more repugnant than that from anyone who has sound intellect regarding Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala, is that I should speak about Allah without knowledge. That I should not know, but still speak anyway. That's even more repugnant than the fact that I'm asked about something and I don't know. He says, or that I should take from someone who is not trustworthy. He says that, and then Yahya, he remained quiet thereafter, and he did not have a response. He says that, nah. He said that, so a person may be righteous and noble. A person may be righteous and noble. So due to your righteousness and your nobility, how is it that you don't know something? How is it that you're ignorant of something? He says that. And we're not going to say necessarily ignorant out of respect for the likes of these men, but it is conceivable that a person, he's righteous and he's noble, but he doesn't have knowledge regarding a particular affair. He says, but what is even more repugnant than that is that a person does not know, yet he speaks anyway. He says, and all of this shows the importance of taken from someone who is trustworthy, someone who is firm. This is all important to highlight and show the importance of this. As Ibn Abbas, he mentioned, when someone came to him to ask him a question which he did not know the answer to, do you wish to make our backs a bridge leading to the hellfire? Meaning that you are going to take my answer and thus you end up going to paradise based upon what I informed you of, but due to the fact that I spoke without knowledge, I end up going to the hellfire. He says, so we're going to say, I don't know. If you don't know something, that you say, I don't know. You say, I don't know. He says, and so these are just some of the narrations that show the importance and status of the isnad, and why Abdullah ibn Mubarak said what he said, that the isnad is from the religion. Not for the isnad, then a person can say whatever it is that he wanted to say. He said, but now we're going to read some of the narrations that show criticism of narrators themselves and warning against them so that we can beware. He says, and why do we criticize the narrators and warn against them? He says, because it is the affair of narration of the ahadith entails lying upon the Messenger of Allah alayhi wasallam, or it entails a lie on a scholar from the scholars of Islam. So the isnad is extremely important, even for the likes of this risala, the likes of that which we are studying, Usool, or a narration from the Messenger of Allah alayhi wasallam. And we must be cognizant and aware of the asani and change of narrations for that which we are reporting. Muslim, he mentions in the introduction to a Sahih, that which he reports from Ibn Abi Zinad, from his father, who said that I met 100 men in Al-Madinah. All of them, you would trust them in the affairs of deen. All of them are some religious and upright people. He says, but hadith should not be taken from them, as they are not from its people. He says, meaning that a man may be trustworthy in terms of his deen. He is upright, he is righteous and pious. However, we're not going to accept his ahadith. Why? Because he is not from the people of hadith. For the people of hadith, they are those who are cognizant of the affair of hadith. They are knowledgeable. We can trust them in knowledge and deen. Now, and they are cognizant and aware of the chains of narration, etc. So this it shows us the importance of the study of the chains of narrations that lead back to the Messenger of Allah alayhi salam. And likewise, the people of Hadith, they have fiqh and understanding of that which the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam has stated. He likewise mentioned this narration that comes in the Muqaddimah of Sahih Muslim from Yahya ibn Sa'id, that he said, I asked Sufyan al-Thawri, likewise as Shu'bah, likewise Malik, likewise Ibn Uyayna. All of these great and eminent Imams, Sufyan al-Thawri, likewise as Shu'bah, Imam Malik, meaning Malik ibn Anas, Abu Abdullah, and Ibn Uyayna, meaning Sufyan ibn Uyayna, from the great and noble eminent Imams. He said that you may have a man who he speaks with speech that is not affirmed, and the people come to ask me about him. Should I inform the people about the affair and condition of this man, that he speaks and is not his narration that he reports are not affirmed transmissions? And they all said, inform the people about him, that he speaks with narrations that are not affirmed. He says that. Likewise, he brings this narration from Abdullah ibn al-Mubarak, that he said, I said to Sufyan al-Thawri, that Abbad ibn Kathir, do you know about his condition? Meaning, do you know about the condition of Abbad ibn Kathir? He narrates and he brings things that are heavy, meaning he lies with large, huge lies upon the Messenger of Allah alayhi wasallam. Should I inform the people not to take from him? For he narrates things like this, that are not small affairs. He narrates huge, large lies for which Allah Ta'ala has not sent down any evidence to support. Big issues, he tells huge lies. He said, of course, he says, go and inform the people about him. So Abdullah mentioned that I was in a majlis thereafter, and I heard the people mentioning Abbad, praising him, speaking well about him. I told them, don't take from him. Don't take anything from him. He says, so a person can perhaps be someone who is known to hold fast to the deen of Allah Ta'ala. He prays, he does good deeds, but he is not suitable to carry the hadith. So he does not preserve the hadith and report them exactly as he has heard it. He likewise mentions narration from Muhammad that he narrated from Uthman, that he narrated to us, saying that my father said, Abdullah ibn Mubarak said, I came to Shu'bah and I said that Abbad ibn Kathir said such and such. So therefore, beware of him. He said, Shu'bah ibn Hajjaj, he is Shu'bah ibn Hajjaj ibn Ward, Abu Wastan al-Wasiti. He is known as Amir al-Mu'mineen in Hadith. Now, we find that they were very critical of the narrators. He says, and oftentimes you'll find that these people who they narrate these ahadith that are not affirmed, they don't intend necessarily to lie. Lying is not necessarily their intent. However, this is how they will be ruled upon. This is how they will be ruled upon due to the fact that they would narrate things that are not affirmed. He says, and so all of this goes back to indicate that which we have spoken about up to this point in time regarding the asanid and how we have to be cognizant and aware of the chains of narrations, whether it is a chain of narration for a hadith or for the speech of a scholar. We should know and be aware of the chains of narrations. And we have already read and we are aware of now the biographies of those who are in the chain of narration of this book, leading up to Abdus ibn Malik al-Attar. He says that, and so we must always be in this state. We must always be in the state that we that we are aware and cognizant of the narrators and those who we know for lying and the likes of this, that we warn against the people of misguidance and the people of deviation. And at this point, we will, inshallah ta'ala, translate the end of the lesson in which he spoke regarding the affair of Muhammad ibn Hadi. So I did not have time to write out the end, so we'll play it bit by bit and translate it, inshallah ta'ala. Shaykh, he said, it is upon us to warn against the people of deviation, the people of misguidance, the people of innovation and deviation. And the Shaykh is going to mention an example.
لا أقول يتعلق بالتثبت وأن الإسناد من الدين.
We're not speaking about the issue right now of at-tathabbut and affirming the change and that it changes from the religion.
من يكذب على الرسول الكريم صلى الله عليه وسلم أو العلماء الميامين
Or the affair of lying upon the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam or the ulama, the noble and eminent ulama.
عليهم وإنما سأضرب مثالا خاض فيه كثير من الناس.
But I'm going to strike an example which many of the people fall into.
من الناس بعضهم خاض فيه بعلم وبعضهم خاض فيه بجهل.
Some of the people fall into it upon knowledge while others fall into it upon ignorance.
اتهم شخصا آخر لأنه يقع في الفاحشة.
So one person accuses another person of having fallen into fahisha, meaning in this case falling into fornication.
بأنه يقع في الفاحشة.
So he accused him of falling into fornication.
فإذا المتهم يذهب إلى القضاء.
So the one who has been accused in this case goes to the judge.
ليقاضي هذا الذي اتهمه بهذا الاتهام العظيم.
So that the judge can make a judgment upon the one who has accused him with this great and horrible accusation.
القاضي طلب الرجل أن يأتي بشهود على هذا الاتهام.
So the judge, he demands of the one who has brought the accusation that he brings witnesses to support this claim that he has made.
أنت تتهمه في عرضه.
For you have now accused this man as it relates to his honor.
سبحانه وتعالى بأن نأتي بشهود. هذا ديننا.
And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has commanded us to bring witnesses. This is our religion.
وهذا قرآننا.
It's our Quran.
فعليك أن تأتي بالشهود. فجاءت الشهود.
So he goes and he gets some witnesses.
هل رأيتم هذا الرجل يقع في الفاحشة؟
And the judge asks, have you all seen that this man who's been accused actually fell into fahisha, actually fell into zina?
أني أقولها هكذا صراحة.
And the Shaykh, he excuses himself and apologizes for speaking explicitly in this manner. So the first witness says, no, I didn't see that.
قال الثاني والثالث والرابع.
So likewise said the second, third, and fourth, that they all did not see that the accused actually fell into that.
ولعل الخامس أيضا.
If there was even a fifth man who said the same.
كلهم قالوا ما رأيناه يقع في الفاحشة.
All of them said, we did not see him fall into zina.
فماذا على الذي ادعى ذلك؟
So now what is upon the one who claimed that he actually fell into that? must that the prescribed punishment be implemented upon him.
لابد من الحد. تعاد المحاكمة مرة ومرتين وثلاثة وأربع.
So the affair is appealed in the courts and it goes back a second time, a third time, and so on and so forth.
وما زال الرجل مصرا على اتهامه لهذا البريء.
And the man is still insistent upon accusing the accused of this innocent accused person. He's insistent and persistent upon accusing him of the same thing.
إذا القاضي يقول له يعني أنت رميته بكذا وكذا، يقول أنا ما أردت هذا المعنى الذي تذكرون.
So the judge says to the person, okay, you've accused him of such and such and so and so, but now the accuser is saying that I didn't intend the meaning of that term. When I said the word, I didn't intend the meaning of the word.
تذكرون يعني هذه الكلمة ليس لها إلا هذا المعنى.
So the Shaykh, he says, this kalima, this word, has no other meaning except its meaning.
ليس لها إلا هذا المعنى.
So fahisha does not have another meaning except its meaning.
فاحشة.
And you have accused him of fahisha.
يقول ما قصدت ذلك.
So he says, well, it's not what I meant.
قال عليك أن تراجع هذا.
So the judge said, it's upon you to recant. You must recant that statement.
الرجل وبينك وبينه تسوون هذا الأمر.
And go back to the person who you have the issue with and you resolve the issue between yourselves.
وينتهي هذا الأمر على خير.
And in the affair upon goodness.
يقام عليك الحد. هذا قذف.
This is better for you than for the prescribed punishment to be implemented upon you, because this is qadf.
هذا قذف. سيقام عليك حد القذف.
And the prescribed punishment of qadf is going to be implemented upon you. But he refuses. Subhanallah.
لماذا تأبى؟
Subhanallah, why are you refusing? Why do you refuse to just recant?
ولما رجعوا لعلمائنا الكبار.
And when he returns back to the senior scholars to deal with the issue,
أمثال الشيخ الوالد الشيخ ربيع حفظه الله ومتع به ونفع به.
from the likes of Shaykh al-Walid al-Alam Rabi' ibn Hadi al-Madkhali, may Allah Ta'ala preserve him and extend his life.
طال في عمره وحفظ له علمه وعقله.
And preserve his knowledge and his intellect.
رجعوا إلى الشيخ ربيع حفظه الله وبارك فيه.
So when the affair was returned back to Shaykh Rabi, may Allah preserve him and may Allah Ta'ala preserve him and bless him.
أخذ كلامه على محمل الجد.
He did not accept the speech of a Shaykh Rabi as it should be accepted.
بل وطعن في الشيخ.
Rather you find him speaking ill about the Shaykh.
هذا ليس من شيم أهل السنة والحديث.
And this is not from the qualities and characteristics of Us-Sunnah wal Hadith.
هذا ليس ممن يقتدي بالرسول الكريم صلى الله عليه وسلم وأصحابه الكرام رضي الله تعالى عنهم.
This is not an individual who takes the example of the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam and his noble companions.
أن يتوب إلى الله عز وجل إن بلغه هذا المقطع عليه أنا أذكره بالله تبارك وتعالى.
It's for him to repent. If this recording reaches him, then I advise him that he repents to Allah tabaraka wa ta'ala. And two, and I remind him of Allah Azza wa Jalla.
وأن الخصومات في الدنيا أهون بكثير من أن يأتي أحدهم خصيما لك يوم القيامة.
And that dealing with the khusumat and disputes in this dunya is easier, much, much easier than this individual coming as a disputant against you يوم القيامة.
إذا لم يقم عليه الحد سيكون هذا الرجل خصيمك يوم القيامة.
So if the prescribed punishment ends up never being implemented upon you, then this individual, this man who you accused, is going to come as a disputant against you يوم القيامة.
يدي من؟
In front of whom?
إلى يدي من لا يغفل ولا ينام.
In front of the one who nothing at all is hidden from him, nor does he sleep.
بين يدي من يعلم السر وأخفى.
In front of the one who knows the secret affairs and that which is more hidden than that which is secret.
وأخفى ومما هو أخفى من السر.
Meaning that which is even more concealed and hidden than something that's a secret already.
جل في علاه.
The Lord of all that exists, majestic and high be He.
نسأل الله عز وجل أن يحفظنا من الفتن.
We ask Allah Azza wa Jalla to protect us from fitan.
وأن يصرف عنا الفتن.
And to turn us away from fitan.
ما ظهر منها وما بطن.
That which is apparent and that which is hidden.
بطن. نسأله سبحانه أن يرد أخوانا إلى الحق ردا جميلا.
And we ask Allah to return our brother to the truth with a return that is beautiful.
وأن يوفقه وأن يجعله يسلك طريق الرشد.
And to give him tawfiq to traverse upon the path of uprightness.
وطريق الحق.
The path of truth.
هذا الذي هو عليه ليس من الحق في شيء.
Because that which he is upon right now is not the truth at all.
ليس من الحق في شيء.
It is not the truth.
وأقول ولا أبالغ ولست أهلا لأن أقول ذلك ولكن أفهم مما قرأت عليكم الليلة ومن غيره أن هذا الرجل حتى بعدما يقام عليه الحد.
So I say, and I'm not exaggerating, that I'm not an individual to exaggerate, that based upon what I've read tonight and based upon what I've read in other places, that this man, even if the truth or the prescribed punishment is established upon him, he is not upon the truth. And I don't see that knowledge should be taken from him.
فالذي يقع في ذنب كهذا
So knowledge should not be taken from him. The likes of an individual who falls into the likes of this sin and persists upon it.
هذا ليس من شيم حملة العلم.
He does so arrogantly, persisting upon that, then this is not from the characteristics and qualities of a person of knowledge.
والدعاة إلى دين الله عز وجل.
And call us to the deen of Allah tabaraka wa ta'ala.
أنصح إخواني بملازمة أهل العلم.
And I advise my brothers with clinging and holding fast to the people of knowledge.
أهل العلم فقد يخفى عليك أيها الشاب الكثير من الأمور.
For, O youth, many affairs are hidden from you. So therefore return back to the senior people of knowledge. And the praises for Allah.
الله سبحانه وتعالى علينا بهم.
Allah Ta'ala has conferred His favor upon us by way of them.
بهم. ومنهم الشيخ ربيع.
From them is the Shaykh Rabi'.
من هادي المدخل حفظه
Ibn
الله
Hadi al-Madkhal.
ومتع به ونفع.
And Allah Ta'ala preserve him. May Allah Ta'ala allow us to enjoy more of his presence
وأطال في عمره
and extend his life
وحفظ له علمه وعقله.
and preserve his knowledge and his intellect.
ارجع إلى هؤلاء الكبار
Return to the likes of these senior and elder scholars
والتزم طريقهم.
and hold fast to their path.
فلا يتكلمون برأي ولا بهوى.
For they don't speak by way of opinion or desires.
ولعلي أجملت الكلام إجمالا.
And I've spoken with general speech here.
أعرف أكثر مما قلت.
And I know more than what I've actually said up to this point.
قلت معذرة والله العالم المفضال الشيخ ربيع حفظه الله تعالى.
This noble and eminent scholar, Shaykh Rabi ibn Hadi, rahimahullah ta'ala, or hafidhahu ta'ala,
واقف تدل على علمه.
he has incidents and situations that he's been in that indicate and point to his knowledge
صبره.
and his patience.
وهذا الصبر هذا من دلائل علمه.
And that patience is from the indications and signs of his knowledge.
الراسخين في العلم.
And that he is from those who are firmly grounded in knowledge.
فعلينا به وبمن هو على شاكلته حتى نخرج.
So it is upon us to hold fast to him and those who were similar to him,
حتى نخرج من هذه الدنيا غير مفتونين.
so that we can leave and depart from this dunya without being tried and tested.
نسأل الله العظيم رب العرش العظيم أن يحفظ
Allah, the magnificent Lord of the tremendous throne,
الفتن ما ظهر منها وما بطن.
to protect us from fitting that which is apparent and that which is hidden,
وأن يصرف عنا السوء إنه
and to turn evil away from us.
سبحانه ولي ذلك والقادر عليه.
Indeed, he is the one who is in charge of that and the one capable of doing so.
عليه وصلى الله وسلم وبارك على محمد وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم.
Sending salawat and salamat upon the Messenger of Allah Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, his family and his companions all together. And we conclude that. We conclude the translation with this, and the Shaykh, he will speak more in depth regarding the issue in the next sitting. هذا وصلى الله وسلم وبارك على نبينا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين وآخر دعوانا أن الحمد لله رب العالمين.